a Morgan to be as effective as a blocker. But I think the acquisition of Irv Smith gives them a guy who they can use in the backfield as a lead blocker, which David Morgan did at times, motioning into the backfield last year and in previous years. So if Conklin turns out to be a guy that they can trust in the passing game, I think he and David Morgan, I think, are going to be an interesting battle for the number 3 tight end spot.
Let's go to wide receiver, which I think might be the most fascinating depth chart on the team. Do want to thank sotastick.com, SOTA stick.com. Check out their website, Minnesota Sports Inspired Goods. And you can always use Talk North as a promo code, all caps, Talk North, one word, to get free shipping on any size delivery. You can join their members only club and get first access to new releases and exclusive items. And this week only, ending on Friday, you can celebrate Independence Day with 15% off when buying 2 or more items from their Independence Day collection. They curated 50 items into that collection. And again, that ends on Friday. And go to sotastick.com and just click on that tab, and you will get 15% off, which is a great deal. Again, their members only club gets you some. And the cool thing about the members only club is SotaStick comes out with all kinds of new stuff all the time. It's very topical. They came out with a bomb, all the twin shirts come right on the cusp of a guy getting hot or going to the All-Star game, whatever. We're going to see a lot of that through the football season with the Vikings and the Gophers. They had the Axe shirts last year when the Gophers beat one at Wisconsin. So check out sotastick.com, promo code TalkNorth for free shipping, and they also have that deal, 15% off on their curated items this week. Let's go to wide receiver.
Yeah, and I agree with you. This is a fascinating position because when you're talking about the number 3 spot, Laquan Treadwell has been there the past couple of years, especially last year, but I don't think that the coaching staff was all that impressed with him. I don't think he should be all that impressed with what he's done as a first-round pick. And with Gary Kubiak coming in, he's more familiar with Jordan Taylor, who is a 6'5" receiver. So when you're talking about the number 3 spot, Treadwell should be in the mix during training camp, but I think there's no guarantee that he's on their roster. If Jordan Taylor looks good as an outside receiver and Chad Beebe as an inside receiver, I think those two really have a good shot to battle for the number 3 snaps. They can use Thielen inside and Taylor outside, or they could use Thielen outside and Beebe inside. It seems to me that the coaching staff was pretty darn impressed with what Beebe's been able to do. Unfortunately for him, he was just starting to come on last year. They called him up from the practice squad after, I think it was 8 games last year. And then he started to get more involved, kind of in the teens for snap counts per game for a couple of games, and then he hurt his hamstring. So if he can stay healthy, if Jordan Taylor can stay healthy, I think those two have a very good shot to send Laquan Treadwell either to the back of the depth chart or perhaps even off the roster.
And, of course, if the wide receiver position is the most interesting and intriguing, it's going to be most fun to watch during camp because it's fun to watch receivers. The most important is offensive line. What do you see on the offensive line as far as breakout candidates?
Yeah, at the front of the depth chart, I think Garrett Bradbury's got a really good shot to be a center that I don't know if he'll surprise Vikings fans because as a first-round pick, you kind of expect guys to come in and play well. But I think his athleticism, and it's kind of a sneaky short area athleticism where he is able to get to guys on the defensive line that most centers that the Vikings have had in the past don't. So if he can fit this zone blocking scheme, and I think he was the perfect fit pick for what they wanted to do, I think he's got a chance to be not, this year I don't think Pro Bowl is in his wheelhouse, but I think 3 years from now he should be a Pro Bowl center.
And how about on the back end of the offensive line depth chart?
Well, a guy that probably not a lot of people have heard about, Aviant Collins, who I thought was starting to show that he could be a contributing tackle, a backup swing tackle for them. And then he dealt with injury last year as well. So, right now, Rashad Hill is kind of that guy and has been that guy for the Vikings the past couple of years. But I think Aviant Collins has got a chance to unseat Rashad Hill for that swing tackle position. Now, they may end up keeping both of those guys, but if they keep only one, sort of that dark horse candidate to look out for is Aviant Collins.
Interesting. Hey, I want to thank Tony Hoaglund, Hoaglund, your State Farm agent, works out of Champlin. Recently supplied a couple of tickets to the Friday edition of the 3M Open. Been a great supporter of the podcast and is great to work with. He handles my insurance, handles Michael Russo's insurance, and it's been he's made things really easy. And I've dealt with State Farm in the past, way back when. Had an accident, and I had a different State Farm agent at that time. I was living in a different place, and they took away all the headaches that add on to an incident like that. So I can recommend State Farm. I can recommend Tony.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
All right. Defensive line is strong a position as it's been for the Vikings. There's always change, and I think we're seeing some changes made possible by Stephen Weatherly's emergence.
Yeah, he's the guy that I look to. First of all, with Everson Griffin's problems last year, I thought Weatherly played very well while Griffin was out dealing with his mental issues, his mental health. And Weatherly, to me, I think he got a vote of confidence from Zimmer in the offseason saying that he expects a big season from Weatherly. To me, that sort of may be an indication that there's going to be more of a rotation there where even when Everson Griffin is there and starting, I think they'll look to get Weatherly more involved. And so I think he can be a guy that could produce 5-6 sacks for them in a backup role. And they may start looking to make the transition for Weatherly to become a starter, and Everson Griffin, as he moves on further in his career, hits his 30s, I think Weatherly's a guy that could unseat him.
And how about on the back end of the depth chart?
The position to really watch, I think, is this 3 technique. Without Sheldon Richardson here anymore, Shamar Stephen comes in and will probably be the starter. But they need a young guy to emerge at defensive tackle, not just for that position, but also to back up Linval Joseph. Jalen Holmes is the quicker of the 2 younger guys between Jalen Holmes and Jaleel Johnson. I think Jalen Holmes is a guy that could get some snaps, could be disruptive. I think he needs to be a little bit more disciplined, not get out of his gaps. And I think, that's probably natural for a younger defensive lineman to go want to make all these plays. But I think he's got the quickness to be a guy that they could look to in third down situations. But that said, I also do believe in third down situations, they're going to look to perhaps move Everson Griffin inside at times or Danielle Hunter inside at times and use more of 3 defensive ends. And then, whether it's Shamar Stephen, Jalen Holmes, maybe even Linval Joseph. So I think there's going to be a lot of rotation there, but Jalen Holmes is a guy that I would look to as somebody who's going to step up their snap count this year.
Let's go to linebacker.
To me, this is a hard position to evaluate at this point because you have Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr. After that, Ben Gedeon is probably still going to be their number 3 guy. But Eric Wilson, I thought, played very well last year when he was asked to play a bunch of different positions, when Kendricks went down, when Barr went down. Wilson, I don't think is a guy that is ever going to be a full-time starter in the NFL. But I think number one, he's a very good special teams player, but I think he's also a very valuable backup linebacker. So, if they do have an injury there, first guy in should be Eric Wilson.
And probably not enough linebackers to stretch that discussion out much. I think he's the interesting guy. Let's go to cornerback.
Mike Hughes, I thought last year had a real shot to get a lot of playing time, and then he got hurt. And I think he showed well in the playing time that he got. He was starting to almost get into a bit more of a rotation when Trey Waynes would struggle on a series. Mike Zimmer would bring in Mike Hughes, and I thought Hughes played well. Now, what we don't know is how is he going to come back from this ACL injury. He didn't participate in any of the OTAs. He didn't participate in mini camp. So if he's ready at the start of training camp, or at least soon into training camp, then I think Hughes is a guy that should get more playing time. And let's face it, there's some uncertainty as to what's going to happen long term at that cornerback position. Waynes is in his final year of his contract. Xavier Rhodes, Mike Zimmer, admitted had a down year and is being paid a lot of money with the Vikings cap situation. You never quite know how that's going to play out. So I think Mike Hughes may not be a starter this year, but I think that they will look to get him a lot of playing time and move him into a starting role next year.
Interesting. How about on the backside of the cornerback depth chart?
Yeah, a 7th-round pick that I've talked about a few times that I like, Chris Boyd. Not a big guy, so I'm not sure if he can ever really turn into a full-time outside cornerback, but a physical guy, a confident guy. If he can be more consistent, even at Texas, watching his film, there were some really nice plays when he was in the right position that he would make, but it seemed like at times you'd kind of lose the guy behind him, and that's not a good formula. But if he can become more consistent, I like what Chris Boyd brings as a very deep back of the end depth chart guy, perhaps a practice squad guy this year.
I've always been high on Anthony Harris. To me, he's just one of those guys who always seems to make good plays when he gets the opportunity. But he's not a superlative athlete, so he hasn't always gotten first shot back there. What do you expect from him this year, and who else might break out at the safety position?
Yeah, I expect really good things from him. I think he gained a lot more confidence last year when he was thrust into a starting role after Andrew Sendejo was hurt. And frankly, I think he played a lot better than Andrew Sendejo. He's got more range. He's taller. I think he can be more effective in pass defense. So he is going to be the starter next to Harrison Smith this year, and I think he should turn into a very solid starting safety, and probably long term for the Vikings. At the back end of the depth chart, a guy that I've kind of liked what I've seen from him in OTAs and minicamp, Darren Smith, who was in the AAF and signed after that league folded. With his experience playing some professional ball, I think he's got a chance to make the roster. And at this point, after your 2 starting safeties, I think that Smith is probably not their number 3 guy, but he could be their number 4 guy and a guy that contributes on special teams.
Thanks to Bite Squad, bitesquad.com, Bite Squad app. They keep adding restaurants in the Twin Cities area. They have their members deal, $5.99 a month, gets you free deliveries for the entire month, anything within a 4-mile radius. That certainly works out great if you're in a dense suburb or especially in the cities. I've used it. I continue to use it. Makes life easy. They deliver restaurant quality food as if a waiter or waitress is just walking up to you with your plate. You don't have to do dishes, don't have to wait in line, don't have to get a reservation, don't have to find parking, don't have to deal with weather or traffic. BiteSquad.com, Bite Squad app. Use promo code TALKNORTH for your first delivery free. What else is going on? We got some sprinters going on, huh?
Yeah, that 40 yards of gold race was on Saturday. It wasn't on TV. It was a pay-per-view thing. Which
for me, really that would mean if I finished the 40-yard dash, I'd get gold, right?
Yes. I was surprised. I think they were charging like $39.95 or something like that to watch this on pay-per-view. Yeah, exactly. Jeff Baudette was a guy that I thought had a chance to really do well in it. And for somebody that hasn't made a lot of money in the NFL yet, the $1 million prize to win it would have been great for him. He lost in the first round. Trey Waynes lost in the first round. From what I've read on the event that was down in Miami, I think it was well produced, but that didn't draw a lot of people. I think it was about 3,000 in attendance. I don't know how their pay-per-view numbers did, but I do think this is a fun event. Ocho Cinco, your guy, Chad Johnson, was kind of the leader of the event, put it together, and I think it should take off in years to come.
Yeah, they just need to expand it. As we've always said, they need to expand